Yesterday, Kevin Nash went on the attack when it comes to Logan Paul, but today, Logan Paul fires back with a couple of counter punches on Big Sexy. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling, and Logan Paul has responded to WWE Hall of Famer Kevin Nash. Now, yesterday, Kevin Nash came out, he spoke about Logan Paul. He said he's not one of the boys, he doesn't really get what's happening in wrestling, and I think he was a little bit upset about the money that Logan Paul is making and the fact that he's not a full-time guy and he doesn't really put everything into it and he doesn't really show up, which is a little ironic coming from Kevin Nash, considering that he pretty much made a shitload of money in WCW and he didn't work as many dates as everyone else because he had a guaranteed contract, and in TNA as well, he came in due to his name value and he made more money than all the TNA originals, and he certainly didn't work as many dates as them. Now, have I got an issue with that? Absolutely not. I think if you've got name value, then you're almost earning the right to a better deal. I have no problem with that, but at the same time, Logan Paul, let's be honest, he's getting these deals, he's getting the money, he's getting the limited dates because of his name value, just like Kevin Nash got his contracts because he was Kevin Nash. So I think it works both ways. Yes, Kevin Nash can argue that he built his name in wrestling, whereas Logan Paul did not, but I mean, at the end of the day, does it really matter where you built your name? If you're wanted by a wrestling company, they're not going to say to Logan Paul, we're going to treat you like a jobber, we're going to treat you like Dragon Lee, because despite you having millions of followers, none of those followers you gain from the wrestling business, so we're going to treat you like a nobody. It's not quite how it works.
No, it's ridiculous for Nash, and yeah, I mean, it might be because Nash made his own stardom in wrestling, but when he says about Brock Lesnar, when he says about Goldberg...
Look at Stallone, right? I'd be like Stallone saying, here, Hollywood, Hulk Hogan, you got a big name, bro, but I want you in Rocky 3, but because you haven't acquired that big name in movies, instead of me facing you at the beginning of Rocky 3, instead of you being Thunderlips, I'm just going to let you play a background character who's in the crowd with no words, and you're going to make $10. You're going to be a prop, essentially. Would Hulk Hogan go, well, that's fair, brother, because I've never really done the movie business?
No.
Of course not. So, you know, I don't think it really matters how you got your name. Unfortunately, if you've got a name and it's worth something, then
did he say the same about Ronda Rousey? What about when The Rock comes back and he works part-time dates? What about Roman Reigns? No. This is just Kevin Nash on it. I mean, it's just so out the blue.
Yeah, that's like saying Ronda Rousey should have come in and started in development and, you know, been paid like 25 grand a year or something. Maybe she should have been stuck in development, like, to actually work on her fucking skills. But, you know, nonetheless, it's not how it works. So Kevin Nash, you know, he spent a bit of time burying Logan Paul. Logan Paul responded, though, with a video on his Twitter/X account. That's what Logan Paul said in the response. He says, quote, I got people messaging me, they're like, yo, Kevin Nash is talking shit about you. I say, damn, who is Kevin Nash? And I mean that. I'm unfamiliar with this guy, which I think is his problem. I'm not as first in the WWE and wrestling as maybe I should be, as my peers are, but then, how am I so much better than all of them? I don't have the answers to these questions. It is a question. I don't know how I could be the best in WWE, or at least be one of the best. I'm surely a top fiver. I don't even do it full time. Now imagine if I did learn a little. Imagine if I defaulted, came out, one of the boys, learned what the difference between a shoot and a work was. Will that make me a champion? Fuck me, fuck you. You're one of the old guys who's bitter that I am better at your job than you ever were, and that makes you pathetic. This will be my sport, and I will continue to make guys like you eat your words when I devote a little bit of time to it. So fuck me, no, fuck you. End of quote. So that's Logan Paul's response there. A few things to touch upon. First of all, I mean, he kind of admits that he's not as first in WWE in wrestling as maybe his peers are, maybe he should be. So, I mean, he's openly, first of all, he's openly admitted that, you know, Nash said he's not one of the boys, and Logan Paul's kind of come out and went, well, you're right, I'm not.
Yeah, but why does Nash think that's like a dig? You're not one of the boys. So what?
Is The Rock one of the boys? See when is Brock one of the? See when Brock turns up and cuts his one little segment, then flies off and doesn't interact and doesn't hang out? Is Brock not one of the boys? Or?
Yeah, but you also heard about Austin was a lone wolf backstage, didn't do many interactions. He was kept to himself. What does that mean? Does that mean Austin's shite? No good enough?
Right, but then
Who
Logan...
cares what they do backstage, by the way? I mean, Nash fucking bullied half the roster, coked out his tits. No, I like Nash, right? But I actually think this is down to political stances here for Logan Paul.
I believe so. I think it's because Logan Paul has recently come out and said he is voting for Donald Trump, and obviously we know Nash, the big liberal, who's very anti-Trump. That seems like, to me, the reason that Nash is having a hard-on here with Logan Paul and attacking Logan Paul. And speaking of bullying and things like that, I seen one comment that said Logan Paul would shit himself. Kevin Nash is the guy that slapped Samoa Joe in the face and Joe did nothing. Kevin Nash is the guy that went to LA Knight, confronted him, and they sorted everything out. I would love to see what Logan Paul would do if Kevin Nash stood in front of him. Well, first of all, I'll tell you what would happen. I mean, Logan Paul would knock him out in about 5 seconds, and unfortunately, the reality is, yeah, Nash slapped Samoa Joe, but that was almost 20 years ago, right? When Nash was...
Well,
wasn't that
45?
Which is still, not young, but obviously you're a lot closer to your prime. And Nash slapped Samoa Joe. No, I'm not saying Joe's I'm not saying he's not a little bit tough or whatnot, but he's not Logan. Logan Paul's an athlete. Logan Paul's a boxer. Man, this is a guy that has actually put a lot of time into. He's put more time into boxing than he has WWE. That's for sure. And look how good he is at WWE. I mean, I see people that think that Nash stands in front of Logan and Logan Paul shits himself. I mean, maybe 25 years, maybe if it's like prime Nash, I get it. Intimidating, almost 7 foot. I totally get that. But I don't think that Logan Paul is going to look at 65-year-old Kevin Nash and brick it.
No, because a lot of people look at Logan Paul and think, oh, he's the pathetic Paul brother for the Disney Channel. This guy...
Yeah, this is not...
No, this guy would batter most people on the roster.
100%. See if they had a brawl for all, Logan Paul would be one of the favourites to win it if they didn't include Brock Lesnar.
Or Lashley.
And even then, I mean, I don't know. Would Logan Paul... Yeah, I'm not saying Logan Paul wouldn't beat Lashley.
Yeah,
Logan Paul...
I think Brock's the only guy who wouldn't
beat. Logan Paul is... I mean, I'm not going to say he's a better MMA fighter than Lashley, but... you know what? I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. If Lashley and Logan Paul fought each other, I'm not convinced that Lashley 100% wins.
Yo, there's no shame though in Nash getting beat up by Paul. I mean, he's fucking 40 years younger than him.
Yeah, I know, but I think it's funny that people are making it like Logan Paul would shit himself.
Why would
I think you need to get to the time, right? As much as we love all the legends, I mean, these guys' times are past. It's the same thing. Oh, Austin, the toughest. So Austin's what, 59?
Yep.
I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, Austin was never a real fighter. Austin would lose to Logan Paul, and it is what it is.
Yeah. No, he would.
Triple H would lose. The Rock would lose.
No, if they were all in their primes, I mean, you're closer, but they're not. They're all fucking done.
I don't get why these people Undertaker. I mean, I love Undertaker, and he was tempted to try a bit of boxing and all this, but if Undertaker started throwing hands with Logan Paul, man, he'd get smoked.
Yeah. Yeah, yo,
I'll tell you how, right? Jake Paul is going to destroy Mike Tyson. And Mike Tyson was fucking Mike Tyson. If Mike Tyson, at his age, right, if he hasn't got a chance against Jake Paul, and people think that it's actually hilarious, people think Tyson's going to, absolutely kill Jake. It's not going to harm. But, you know what I mean? If Jake Paul beats Mike Tyson, but people think Kevin Nash is going to beat Logan Paul, I mean...
The only thing that saves, these old guys against, Logan Paul, for example, is the fact there wouldn't be a sign. It could be just a backstage brawl. They could win. You know what I mean? They could. It's not a boxing match.
No, I mean,
it's not regulated. But then, I'm fancying Austin or Triple H got a heart. I'm fancying Austin or Taker over fucking... Nash is fucked. Anyone's seen Nash?
Aye, no, definitely. So... Well, I just wanted to bring that up there because I've seen a lot of people making it as if Logan Paul would be fearing it for Kevin, and I just don't see that.
Logan Paul's a guy that's in his prime. Not even in his prime. He's near enough in his prime. Guy, I'd look. See your wrestlers, right? You grew up watching them. You'd love to think these guys that are larger than life could just beat everybody up. Yeah, could they beat? Could Taker and Nash and Triple H and Austin at their fucking 50s and 60s batter 99% of the roster? But Logan Paul's not 99% of the roster.
Kevin Nash would probably beat up I would fancy Kevin Nash to beat up the average 20, 30, 40-year-old in the street. 100%.
Yeah.
I'm not denying that. I would back Austin and Taker to do the same thing. But we're talking a guy that actually legitimately fights here, and I mean a guy that did a lot of MMA and a lot of like judo and shit like that when he was growing up through high school. This is a legitimate fighter.
Yeah.
And for me, I mean, he destroys
But
Kevin
see, I
Nash.
think a lot of people just view the Paul brothers as like pathetic because they're on the Disney Channel. And you know, I don't agree with everything they've done, but they are boxers. They're trained fucking athletes, man, in their prime. I don't understand.
Especially Logan, he's the one that actually had like a career in like an athletic background, fighting background.
And, you know,
Now Jake Paul's put a lot more effort into boxing, 100%. I think Logan Paul would beat up Jake in a fight.
yeah, Logan had a fucking fight with Mayweather. Albeit it might have helped him up for a bit, but yeah, but you know, people cry about Logan Paul, the Japanese forest. Honestly, what's worse, Logan Paul filming a dead body in a Japanese forest, or some of the stuff that fucking Kevin Nash has done, like bullying people? Like, what's actually worse when you think of it?
I know, bullying people.
Like, see Kevin Nash's bullying, that could lead to someone hanging themselves in a forest.
Well, let's not get too deep here. Let's just move on. Logan Paul then goes to say he's one of the best, or at least he could be one of the best. He says he's a top 5 for sure, and he doesn't even do it full time. I'm going to disagree, right? I think that Logan Paul can put on a good match and all this stuff. He does look like a star, but I still don't think he's not really got it. Like he's not a professional wrestler. He's a guy that wrestles. But
Yep.
he does have the star power, and I think he's got the potential to be one of the best.
I mean, is he top 5 right now? Probably not, but I mean, he's not far off it. I mean, overall, he's nowhere fucking near.
No, I just don't think he's. I don't think he's like is. I don't think he's like. How do you describe it? He's not like clean cut or, you know, he's not like molded into the role of professional wrestler, but he's definitely got more to him than like 99% of the roster.
He's rough around the edges, but he's alright.
Rough around the edges, but no, I mean he is one of the better guys. He looks like a star. He carries himself like a star. Like, see if Logan Paul walks out and Finn Balor walks. Who looks like a professional wrestler?
Logan Paul.
Then he said, "Now imagine if I did a little bit. Imagine if I learned more." He talks about like them being a champion. He then says that Nash is better and that you're just annoyed that I can do my job better than you ever did, and that makes you pathetic. Is that true? Has Logan Paul done his job better than Kevin Nash ever did?
I mean, obviously I prefer the stuff that Nash did more, but in terms of like who's a better wrestler, I mean, it's obviously fucking Logan Paul. I don't think anyone's going to debate that. Like, I don't necessarily like the style of wrestling that Paul does, but Nash was very
one-dimensional, wasn't he?
very limited.
I mean,
Big
he was
boot, the snake eyes, you know.
sidewalk slam.
Aye, it was like the moveset that Kane and Taker had in the fucking games, but it's all he fucking had.
Half the buttons were broke, so you can only repeat the same move.
Yeah.
And then he ended it with "fuck you." Is this a shoot?
I think he's staying in character. Does he know? I think
it's like a half shoot. I think it's like he's shooting on Nash, but doing it as like Logan Paul the wrestler, not Logan Paul the human being.
I don't think it's out of the question though that Logan Paul never heard of Nash. He's never there. He's not big enough to be talked about every week.
Like,
he's not been on his podcast.
Like, sometimes I think wrestling fans just assume that everybody knows, because wrestling was big. I'm not denying that, but it's like not everybody knows who wrestlers were.
Yep.
I mean, it is what it is, man. See outside of like the very top wrestlers, or not everybody knows. You're maybe not necessarily mainstream.
Kevin, most people's heard of the NWO, but not everyone's heard of the fucking members of the NWO.
Aye. So, pretty much. Anyway, guys, that's it. Let us know your thoughts down below. Kevin Nash, Logan Paul. Could we be seeing a match soon?
Hopefully, not really.